Hello, my name's Julie Turner. I've been teaching piano for 30 years. If you're playing already and you've reached a point where you want to learn to improvise, compose or play by ear, then this series will lead you through that process. We're going to start right at the beginning, learning about scales, keys and chords, which will provide you with all the tools you need to get started. In this first video, we're going to be looking at approaches to improvisation, and we're going to be exploring the pentatonic scale and how to use that to compose and improvise. Most music is based on scales. A scale is a collection of notes that actually arise out of one note. All of the notes in the scale are mathematically related. They vibrate in relation to one another. So a simple major scale sounds like this, and a piece of music composed using a major scale will have its own particular quality. A piece of music using this scale will have its own particular quality. But we're going to begin with the scales that are used in the Western world predominantly, and that will be three different scales, all of which you'll have heard before, all of which you'll be really familiar with if you've been listening to music throughout your life. The first scale I'm going to look at today is called the pentatonic scale. Now, you may never have heard of the pentatonic scale, but without doubt you have heard music that is composed using that scale. For example, you've heard that thousands of times. Or familiar with that one? There are hundreds of pieces of music composed in the pentatonic scale. You find lots of Scottish folk songs are composed using that, Loch Lomond. The pentatonic scale is a bit of a mystery. Nobody seems to fully know where it's arisen from. You actually find it in cultures all over the world. It's very ancient, it's very universal, and children love it. So that's the scale we're going to look at, and it's very easy to explore the pentatonic scale on the piano because the black keys are laid out in the pentatonic scale. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the pentatonic scale is only ever played on the black keys, because it can be played on any keys. What gives a scale its quality is the distance between the notes. And we'll talk more about that in the second video, because I just want to get you started with this right now. So if you start on this black key and you play up 5 notes, because penta means 5, you've played the pentatonic scale, or one of the pentatonic scales. Now you'll find that if you just put a few notes of the pentatonic scale together like this, you're playing in something that will sound very familiar. It sounds like Chinese music. So already you can begin to have fun exploring and playing without having to know anything at all. You don't even need to know how to use your fingers. You can just use one finger and you can explore playing Chinese music. You could also have a go at working out some of the tunes that I showed you that are in the pentatonic scale. So the New Year's Eve Old Acquaintance. Now, if you just think about Scottish music for a moment and think about the bagpipes, what the bagpipes provide underneath the melody is a drone. And so we can provide a drone. If we just take these two notes here, an F sharp and a C sharp, we can just provide a drone underneath the melody. Now with that concept of a drone sitting underneath a tune, you can just begin to explore. Now you'll notice that when I'm doing that, I'm making shape. I'm not just carrying on and carrying on and carrying on. I'm coming to resting places. And that's what music does. It comes to resting places all the time. Sometimes it comes to half resting places, and sometimes it comes to very final resting places. For example, if I played a major scale and did this at the end, you can hear a very final resting place. So what music does is it takes us to places of rest, and then it takes us to places of unrest. It takes us to places of discord and then places of harmony, and that's what makes it work. So when you're improvising, just make sure that you find places to settle. Go on a journey and arrive, and then go on a journey and arrive, and that's what will give shape to your improvisation. Okay, so that's the idea of the drone, and then just playing over the top of that on only the black keys. Another possible left hand that you could explore and play with to put underneath the pentatonic scale in the right hand is to just take the notes F sharp, C sharp, and now add another F sharp on the top. You can just do a little. There that I did exactly the same melody, but I did it first in this octave and then I moved up and did the same thing an octave higher, and that's a really effective thing to do when you're improvising or composing. Mozart, Beethoven, all of them, they use that all of the time. But let's further this left hand a little bit. So how about just dropping it down to the next black key? See how nice that is? How about going down again? Come back up. Okay, so I'll just go over that left hand so that you're really clear about what I was doing. So I'm playing an F sharp to a C sharp and then an F sharp. And I'm just going up and down that pattern of notes. So there's 4 beats in the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then I just hopped down to the next black key and I kept the same pattern. So from the D sharp to the A sharp to the D sharp. And then I went down once again, C sharp, G sharp, C sharp. And then I just came back up again through the same. And you can already hear how that makes a really lovely bass line over which to explore. And so on. Now if you want to just add a little bit of spice into that, if you add this B natural in sometimes, it just gives you a little bit more scope, a little bit something else to play with. See how nice that that B was with both of the positions. It worked really well. So that's a way that you can just begin to explore at the piano and have instant success. You didn't need to know much for that. In the next video we'll be exploring the major scale, and again I'll give you a simple improvisational tool which will help you explore and expand your knowledge of the keyboard away from the written music. And bear in mind that improvisation is at the root of composition. When you can improvise and explore in this way, then you can begin to write down what you have found.